I think that the most interesting part about wormholes is the fact that they weren't invented by media. Hollywood didn't invent them. Sci-fi writers didn't invent them. But it was Albert Einstein that actually discovered that they could be a theoretical, mathematical possibility. But what is a wormhole? And has anybody ever actually seen one or been through one? But don't worry, because today, if you join me, we will take a deep dive into the strange and mysterious history of wormholes, how they've been linked to secret government experiments, if they could be the key to time travel, and how they remain, to this day, one of history's most fascinating mysteries. Let's go. If you're watching this video and you have no idea what a wormhole is, that is okay. Just sit back, relax, because I will provide you with a quick demonstration before we get into the meat and potatoes. Okay, let's take this piece of paper here. I'm going to draw something on it in 3, 2. Okay, so this is our drawing, okay? As you can see, there are two beautifully drawn villages, Village A and Village B. Now, the best way you can imagine a wormhole is in real life, like the life that we live right now, reality as we know it. To get from Village A to Village B, you would have to travel, this is you, right there. You would have to travel across the paper, all right? Get this, wormholes say, if you fold the two places together, you now do not have to travel that distance, but rather you can poke a hole and get from one side to the other instantaneously. You know what I'm trying to say? And that's the best way you can imagine a wormhole. Now, the crazy thing is that some scientists suggest that wormholes won't just connect two puny villages like these. They won't even connect two cities or two countries, but rather two galaxies or different points in time. Now, how did science spit this entire concept out? It just seems so simple to fold 2 points together and just travel through them and get to the other one in a second. Not even a second. But things only get weirder when we look at history and realize that it was all discovered as an accident. Let's go all the way back to the time of Albert Einstein. Everybody knows this guy, super cool, super smart, discovered some cool physics stuff. So anyways, before his time, scientists generally understood gravity as this thing pulling two objects together. But it was Einstein that proposed something completely different. So according to his theory of general relativity, massive objects like planets and stars actually bend space and time itself. It was one of the most revolutionary scientific ideas ever proposed, and it completely changed the way that scientists understood physics. But about 20 years later, Albert Einstein and another physicist named Nathan Rosen published a paper that showed something unexplainable. So while they were working through these field equations from the theory of general relativity, they discovered something. And that was that the mathematics suggested, under very specific conditions, that 2 points across space-time could be connected to form a sort of bridge. What was originally an attempt to better understand gravity became something that could potentially become the key to actual, literal time travel. Decades later, physicist John Wheeler popularized the term wormholes, and it became an actual field of study in science around the 1950s. So over the next few decades, things were essentially quiet around the concept of wormholes. Basically, nobody outside of the scientific community really knew about them or was talking about them. But this completely changed during the rise of modern science fiction. Because there were so many limitations on what you could realistically do in space, people started to look for loopholes and workarounds to these rules. So instead of asking the audience to believe some fantasy make-believe elements, what the writers decided to do was point to wormholes and use them as a sort of explanation for unrealistic things. Wormholes became a perfect storytelling device because writers could seriously point to Albert Einstein and say, don't look at me, this guy, this physicist, this award-winning physicist discovered this and said it was real. And it worked. I mean, I'm not surprised, honestly. Can you say that you are? The line between theoretical physics and science fiction became increasingly blurred. But who can really blame society for wanting to believe this, for needing to believe this? When you think about it, if the public already knows this much about the physics and about the science, then that makes them wonder, how much does the government actually know? This is where the rabbit hole gets deeper and deeper, because right now we are going to turn the clocks back to World War II. Now, I'm sure most people are familiar with the Manhattan Project, okay? I'm talking Oppenheimer, the atomic bombs, I'm sure you get the picture. But according to legend, this wasn't the only ultra-secret military program. In fact, it was one of three: the Manhattan Project, the Chicago Project, and the Philadelphia Experiment. Now, I need you guys to understand the information we are about to go through. These are just conspiracy theories, and I unfortunately do not have much evidence to substantiate these claims. But maybe that's the whole point. Maybe as much information as possible was deleted and erased and hidden away from public. Maybe the evidence is hidden because the public just isn't ready to know about this type of technology. I don't know for sure, of course, but you pay attention and decide for yourself. Let's go. The timeline for the Philadelphia experiment takes us back to October of 1943, when the US Navy conducted a classified experiment above the USS Eldridge in the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. Now, the goal, you might be wondering, was to make the ship invisible using powerful electromagnetic fields, but something went terribly wrong. Instead of simply becoming invisible, the ship allegedly teleported hundreds of miles away to Norfolk, Virginia, and then teleported back. But in the end, it said that the crew had horrific injuries, and most of them had lifelong lasting psychological effects. But the most disturbing versions describe some of the crew fused to the actual ship, like their body parts were fused with the metal of the ship. Things don't end there though, because after the Philadelphia experiment produced unexpected teleportation, instead of abandoning the research, the military decided to continue it. It's 1944, and the project is moved to Marfa Army Airfield, Texas, where the Chicago Project begins. According to the conspiracy, this new and improved research started testing ways to teleport soldiers, tanks, bombs, nuclear weapons. Now, similar to what happened in the Philadelphia experiment, things went terribly wrong. So much so that there was a tear in space-time that supposedly explains the mysterious Marfa lights. Now, these Marfa lights are these mysterious glowing orbs that have been seen around the West Texas desert near Marfa since the 1800s. Now, if you're a smart person, you're probably thinking to yourself, the 1800s? That's way before this project even started. How is that possible? You're absolutely right. But you see, creating a tear in the fabric of space-time is exactly what it sounds like. When you see one of these lights or one of these glowing orbs, you're essentially seeing into a whole other time period, or rather a whole other reality. You could be looking at reality as it was in 3000 BC. You could be looking at reality as it is in 2150. Or even 3050, or even the next week. And that's because space-time itself, as understood by Einstein, is that the past, the present, and the future coexist already in one four-dimensional plane known as space-time. Now, this is a real thing. This is a real theory that Einstein came up with. So the best way you can think about it is a loaf of bread. I'm not gonna grab one like I did with the paper. So the very first slice, the one over here, this is the beginning of time. This is everything when it started. And the one right here, this last slice, is the end of time. And every slice in between is present reality. Right here's the past, right here's the future. Maybe you're existing on this slice and this is your present, but it all exists at the same time. It's kind of like how every city on Earth can exist, every country on Earth can exist, even if you're only in one place and you're not seeing it all at the same time. Now the final cherry on top, the most delicious cherry of them all, landed in 1970s New York. After the Chicago Project caused a literal tear in space-time itself, it's no wonder that in 1945, Marfa Army Airfield was closed and research went dark. But of course, that's not the end of it. If you can create a tear in space-time, why would you stop there? Why wouldn't you continue to research this new science? And that's why, according to the conspiracy, in 1971, the US government started to operate an ultra top secret underground program beneath the military installation of Camp Hero in Montauk, New York. Now the program grew from the alleged Philadelphia experiment and Chicago Project, and further developed these discoveries to focus on things like mind control, psychic research, and of course, time travel. Now the information we're about to go over was published in a book written by Preston Nichols and Peter Moon titled The Montauk Project, Experiments in Time. Now this book was published because Nichols claimed that after undergoing hypnosis, he uncovered suppressed memories of himself and others working on this program. And according to what was published, on August 12th of 1983, things took a terrible turn. A psychic known as Duncan Cameron sat in a Montauk chair. Now this isn't just any regular chair. It was supposedly connected to an electromagnetic generator that created intense electromagnetic fields around anybody that sat in the chair. Now these fields could amplify brain activity and somehow increase psychic ability, such as manifestation or even telepathy. But now I'm sure most people understand the idea of manifestation. It's the ability to make thoughts, ideas, mental images become real. And we all, believe it or not, have this ability. What you think becomes your reality. And as the story goes, Duncan Cameron was sitting in his chair when he became increasingly disturbed on what the scientists were doing and talking about. During the experiment, he reportedly thought about a terrifying creature. And of course, the chair amplified this thought and made it a reality. Now, this creature was described as a huge beast that went on a complete rampage through the entire facility. It attacked personnel, it attacked equipment. It was absolutely ruthless. And it was only when Preston Nichols conveniently tackled Cameron and broke his concentration did the creature just vanish. Because of this incident, officials deemed the research way too dangerous to continue. So records were erased, the personnel's memories were wiped, and everything just went away.
Or did it?
But I guess we will never know, because this is unfortunately as far as the video will take us today. And as I said in the beginning, the most fascinating part about the concept of wormholes is that they have been proven as a real mathematical possibility. They appear in legitimate research. Physicists debate them. Universities publish papers on them. And they are discussed in scientific conventions all around the world. Now, it doesn't mean that they have been discovered, but it does mean that scientists have been completely unable to prove that they're impossible. But I'll leave it for you to decide for yourself, whatever you think. Thank you so much if you're still watching this video, and if you like this type of content, please feel free to check out my channel because I try to post content just like this. Drop a comment if you know about any weird wormholes in the world, or any conspiracy theories, or just any videos that you want me to make. It was so fun researching this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.